What's up YouTube? Welcome back to MMOSWORLD. We are here on Astellia, the upcoming Korean MMORPG that's going to be launching in the West this summer 2019, and we are in the closed beta 1 for phase 1 of testing, and then there's going to be closed beta 2, then an open beta, and then launch perhaps. So what are we going to do? We're going to be spending 10, 15, 20 minutes checking out the intro tutorial for Astellia, talking about some of the differences between the Korean version and the Western version, and just get a feel for gameplay too. So there's 2 servers available, both in North America in the closed beta. Let's go ahead and do Braga. Both of them have very minimal player base according to that login screen, and of course here is the character selection and creation. So we've got no characters. Let's go ahead and make one. Right, we have 5 classes available, from the warrior to the archer, assassin, scholar, and mage. Pretty much self-explanatory really. So there's going to be lots of pause and stuttering because it's CBT, but let's not make that as an excuse. We'll talk about performance as well and optimization. Archer, you can tell it has that very generic Korean thing where for all the classes that you select, you can see how difficult it is to play, but what sort of advanced classes they can morph to. Like archers can go into ranger, hawkeye, or bounty hunter, and then of course it's going to be a video that just highlights their skills and everything. So what else we got? We have assassin, scholar, which is the game's healing class, and then mage. Now what this character creation screen doesn't show you is the Astels, which is pretty much what the game is going to be centered around, your combat companions and pets, and we'll talk about that later on when we get them. So this is character creation, pretty much, well, there's your boot physics for you. It's very prevalent, and you can change background, select different poses, and just get a feel for what your outfit's gonna look like. So let's go ahead and pick the archer. You can either pick from face presets, body presets, or if you're happy with that, you can go deeper into customization with body sliders, face shapes, and all that good stuff. So needless to say, I think character customization is pretty decent for Astellia. And once you're happy with everything, all you gotta do is hit set appearance and name your character. And we're gonna go to MMOSWORLD as usual, and let's jump into game. We'll see you on the flip side.
What is this mess? Faye!
I'm training. I get stronger as my Estelle does.
I told you. Only one Estelle friend at a time. Be quiet!
Okay, here we are in game, and now you get to see what the gameplay world looks like for Astellia. So a couple of things. First of all, we saw a little bit of that sort of cinematic cutscene there, and the game does have a bunch of that plus CGI screens as well, in addition to in-game rendered dialogue scenes. Secondly, in character creation, what I did not mention earlier was gender locks. So Astellia is made by Studio 8 over in Korea, and the Western publishers are Burns and EA, and they have promised that the Western release will not have gender locking when the game launches fully, but in the CBT, which is what we're doing right now, yes, there is gender locking because this intro tutorial follows the Korean version and not the final Western version, whatever that may be. So movement is pretty basic, and you will see evidence of stuttering and freezes and FPS drops, which is going to happen a lot because this game, Astellia, like most other Korean games, runs on Unreal Engine 3, and optimization is not at the very best at the moment. So, movement, WASD, and you can interact with characters here. Faye, the little girl, is your sister, who is an Astellian, which means she has the power to call upon Astels, those little pet things you saw running around, and those are what you can use to collect and fight with you. So let's go ahead and pick this up.
You're awake?
And this is going to be your introduction to some of the characters and the story as you make your way to the combat tutorial, which is what I'm going to bypass here. I'm just going to tell you right now that the intro dialogue for the tutorial is very much annoying. And you'll hear that lady in the background narrate over the introduction, which, by the way, you can skip if you don't want to, you know, go through all of that.
You're a bit late today.
So here is the dude that is going
weapon?
to teach you the basics of combat.
Just use the ones here.
Now we're going to pick up a weapon over there, and the Q over the gear stand simply means quest item. So instead of right clicking now, you can also use your F key, and that's going to pick things up. So you have two choices there.
I, or click the inventory,
Next
click
up,
on the gear, press I again.
equipping the weapon, and now we're going to attack.
Press the same movement key twice in rapid succession. This will cause you to roll.
Right, so dodging
Now
tutorials
try
now.
rolling.
Double clicking will have that
all
dodge
warmed
roll, or caps lock is the other button that you can use.
Click on a target to lock onto
Now,
it.
you can either do that or tap
Lock
target.
onto the marked
So
target
hitting
now.
tab now, you'll notice
the
that you
target
can
is
change
an
your
enemy,
targets whoever's in front of
You
you.
can attack it by clicking it again. Or
Very good.
So that's
Now try
basic
a stronger
of attacks.
new skills can
Now
be
we're gonna do a
read.
new
Assign
skill. And grab
by
that
dragging
and
the
bring that down
icon
here.
From the skill, press K. Now attack the target using your
Good
And you
work.
just fire it off while
Next
using your
training
hotkeys.
is-
Do it with me, Sylvia! Do it with
So
me
that's
first.
basically the battle tutorial, really. And I'm gonna skip all that part of the
Can't
story,
train in this state? Go to the barn
and
bring
we'll
in
try and get out of here as soon as possible so we can see the first intro zone. So I'm gonna skip that cinematic scenario.
Look at
It's
that
pretty in
smoke.
parts. So that smoke over there is where we need to go next. I'm just gonna see if we can. Okay, we can bypass the tutorial.
Hey,
Good.
find this
So
place?
we'll see you on the other side. Okay, here we are now in the opening zone where the town is under attack, and you'll notice all the freezing and stuttering right now that's happening on screen. This is very common in the CBT right now, which is really sucky, and there's not a whole lot of players around. Great, so I can show off some combat basics, some gameplay basics. First of all, you'll notice I have a little companion over here. This is Rhoda, the little girl from that CGI screen earlier on. She is an Astel, and she's summoned right now, so that's her card at the bottom here, and she does have her own ability. Now, one Astel can be summoned at all times to follow you around, but as you course through the entire game's PvE, you will be able to pick up more companions along the way, and they vary from different classes. So for the archer, my second companion is Kukuma, who I can summon by hitting the F2 button.
Kokuma.
Tea time. Some warm tea.
And there she is. So there's two Astels now running around, and that should make you more powerful because they do have auto attacks and they do have their own skills. The problem is when you summon two Astels, you'll notice I have a third bar at the top left. That's my AP bar that's going to decrease the longer you have Astels out. So what you're going to do is run around with one for the most part and only bring out a second and even third if there is a clutch situation where it demands like a burst of DPS, or you're going to need some backup when taking on a boss fight or something like that. And hitting the J key opens up the entire collection of Astels that you can collect in game, and it'll highlight the ones that you already have. They have their progression system, they have XP bar as you can see, and they have stars as well, which grades them basically. And you will earn experience for them simply by completing quests, not just for the Astel that you have summoned, but for the ones in your roster too. Let's go ahead and pick up the quest. We're gonna start out with some kill and fetch quests basically. So there's nothing really different from vast majority of
Master,
MMOs out there.
You probably saw her power back.
Did Priestess Sella send
Alright, so we're gonna go kill
We can
3
handle a
demons
couple
and
of
collect their
demons
marks.
without much
And
problem, but
what we're
they
gonna do
have a
is show you the Estelle in action and in tandem with your own character's skill. So here's a demon skeleton soldier. All you gotta do to send your Astel in is hit the R key, and there she goes. Now you'll notice I will not be firing any of my skills now, just to show you how competent the early levels are with the Astels. They can pretty much do the job. And F1 is your Astel skill here, so I'm gonna hit that.
Rota.
Skull.
So she does have her own set of skills. Let's bring out the second one for the second demon soldier further down the line. Almost dead now. Done. Okay, let's pick up the item that we need. Now, let's go do a second demonic soldier. I'm gonna hit R, and I'm gonna bring out my other character as well.
How about some warm tea?
And this one is more of a support class, I suppose, but does have range attacks. So with 2 Astels out, your potency and attack is going to be much better, of course, but like I said, your AP bar will decrease. So I'm going to take out my second one and stick with Rhoda. Now for the last demon skeleton thing, I'm going to be attacking alongside my Astel, so let's go and do some archer skills, see how that looks like in tandem. Big FPS freeze there. So that's pretty much the unique selling point for Astellia, because you have companions that are persistent with you, and you can almost like in a Pokemon style summon them whenever it's suitable, I suppose. Next up, you do have a horse as usual, and there's auto pathing. Just simply click on the quest in your quest log and it'll move you automatically to where you need to go. This of course is a very familiar feature with Korean MMOs. So I've just hit level 2, and of course progression in this game very simple, of course, all about getting XP, all about getting new weapons, and leveling up your Astels as well. As far as gear progression goes, typical Korean MMO, you have enhancement systems, as you can see, enhance here, where you can drag both armor and weapons and enhance them to tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and above tier 7, everything has a risk of failing. Now to enhance, you will need enhancement stones, which you can get by hitting the dismantling hammer here and dismantling any gear that you do not want. So at the very early levels, of course, there's not going to be a whole lot that you can dismantle. The one thing I'm finding really jarring right now is there's no shift key for sprint, so you pretty much have this one speed to go along the landscape. There's no sprinting. Where other MMOs that have come out recently from Korea, take for example in the closed beta for Ascent Infinite Realm, Bluehole's upcoming steampunk airship MMO, you can sprint, you can fly, and in general that one looks a lot better than Astellia. Astellia, while modern, it's dated. Like animations are pretty much dated, it's generic, and you can tell immediately, okay, that's a Korean game on Unreal Engine 3. So let's move the story along here. Let's go report to Turan, it's right over there.
Not fall back.
And next up we have find Mirrors and get some intel on Centurion. And another part about the early levels is you'll see other players around. I've turned their nameplates off. There is no open tapping in Astellia, so if you are hitting on a monster and another player comes and hit your monster thinking they can get credit for helping you out, no such thing. Right, so we're going to defeat Demon Destroyers. There's one over there. I'm going to send my Estelle in. Rota. And I'm going to fire too, just to make it go quicker. There's going to be combos and stuff, like for Spiral Arrow, immediately does Spiral Arrow 2 and 3, so you'll notice that the combo is automatically executed for your class, so you don't really have to play much. As for class progression itself, hitting the P key, it'll show you some different stuff that you have. So strength, physical defense, physical accuracy, intelligence, magic, accuracy, so you can add points, I believe, so that's... yeah, you can enhance stat up to 5 times each. Let's see, what do we want to do? Agility is probably what I'd want to try, so select the Ultra Crystals to use for enhancement. Okay, so I do not have Ultra Crystals with me right now, so there's not much I can do there. Let's see, Character Evolution. This will officially be released, so that's not here. Character Enhancement, not here. Character Evolution, though, we have... Uh-oh. Okay, there's a freeze there. Right, so later on, advanced classes, you can see what each of the 3 will do. Bounty Hunter, Hawkeye, Ranger, for much later on. Right then, let's go ahead and kill another Destroyer. So here's another player, and they are Rota, so I don't want to touch that because I won't get any credit. So let's go ahead and do Demon Destroyer. Okay, let's bring out both my Astels.
Some warm tea.
And done. Also, that hand icon simply means there's loot to pick up, and there's no auto loot unless you purchase a premium item. At least that's in the Korean version, whereas in the North American version and the EU version, it may not be a cash store item, but it is in the legendary package, which if you paid $100 for, you will get access to. Even the level up message kind of reminds you of Bless Online, does it not? And speaking of, there's definitely similarities there. One of the promises that Astellia says is, you know, it's not gonna have a lot of pay-to-win mechanics. Blast promised the same. The only difference is Blast at launch was a total mess. Localization was bad. You could tell that the English voiceover was, recorded in very poor quality. Whereas Astellia, right from the get-go, even though I've skipped some of the intro cinematics, you can hear that the voiceovers and the dialogue texts, the spelling, these are things that are, I would say has more quality compared to last year's Bless. And Astellia doesn't have the same level of hype that Bless did. Bless was overhyped to death by some of the biggest YouTubers out there for whatever reason. Just wanted something new from Korea that could topple BDO, and they did get it. So the community that really bought into Bless, well, it's your own fault. Let's be honest with that. As for Astellia, like I said, it doesn't have that hype. It's not going all the way out with marketing and promo trying to be the next Bless Online, and I think they're smart because they've had the advantage of watching from the shadows as Bless just self-immolated, I suppose. It's a meltdown. So Barons and EA would have to be absolutely dumb and stupid and just downright mental if they were going to do the same things that Bless did, promise the same things that Bless did, and don't deliver. Because this is not going to be a free-to-play game like in Korea, where Astellia is a free-to-play game with a very heavy microtransaction cash shop. Let's just put it that way. It's a pay-to-win game in Korea. So for the Western version, it's not going to be that. Things that are usually in the cash shop in Korea, you'll have to earn in-game in the Western version. And some people may think that sounds good, but it's not shown in the CBT because you'll notice at the bottom right corner, the gem store icon or whatever is not available. So I can't really show you what those items are going to be. So those are some of the differences really for the Korean versus the Western version. No general locks in the Western version, buy to play in the Western version, and the cheapest buy-in is at $30 US for the basic package. And some people are already saying, because of how the game kind of looks right now, Unreal, it kind of looks like Bless. A lot of people are immediately tagging it as Bless Online version 2 or 3 or whatever, and it may suffer from the same consequence of going free to play some 6 months or 9 months down the line, depending on how well launch is received. So those are things that we can't see ahead, and we don't know what's going to happen. But so far, based on the combat here, I mean, I'm sure you can already see similarities from all the other Korean games. Terra, Ion, a little bit of BNS here and there. Okay, here is a grand old cutscene, and this is one of those sort of in-game rendered ones, unlike the CGI cinematic that you saw at the very beginning. Yeah, it's pretty cool and all, but we're going to skip this to move forward. Okay, and now we are out of the intro tutorial zone. Again, lots of FPS freezes, lots of stuttering, and performance and optimization is taking a skydive every time you zone out of zones, move between areas, and just come out of tutorial in general. But this is the first step now out of the tutorial, moving your way forward to the PvE content. Hitting M opens the map, so you are on the Maglev continent, and we are in the, what's it called? Referent zone? Regfront, there we go. And hovering over the map can show you what's exactly in town and things like that. The world of Astellia lies ahead, and it's going to be pretty much a quest hub crawl. And I'm saying this because I can't show you much, time's up for us here. But yeah, there's a lot of things that Astellia needs to prove that it has the quality to have that sort of MMO longevity where players will keep coming back for more. And it's very difficult to do in a buy-to-play game. And it wants to do that simply because it doesn't believe free-to-play with pay-to-win mechanics will work in the West, which is, to be fair, the truth, as not a whole lot of games can afford to do that. So with Astellia, the Astral system, where you collect all the little pets and how competent they are later on in the game, is probably going to be its strongest point, plus activities I haven't talked about yet. For example, PvP, you have Arena and Dual Arenas, and then Avalon, which is the big one. This is a 3-way faction PvP on a persistent map, so think of it as Elder Scrolls Online's Cyrodiil, or Guild Wars 2's World vs. World, or even Dark Age of Camelot, all those things. It has that, and it's only open to level 45 and above. So let's see what happens with Astellia. So if you get yourself a CBT key, enjoy yourself, and feel free to share your thoughts on what Astellia was like for you. That's it from us. Hit the like button and subscribe to MMOSWORLD for more good stuff. Check out our website at mmosworld.com. As ever, I'm Adrian from MMOSWORLD, signing out.
Cha!